Okay, I will be seeking the 9th District State Representative seat.
Okay. And how did you come to this decision?
Well, I'm still fairly young. I didn't want to commit to 4 more years as county mayor. So in doing a little bit of research, I saw that the state representative seat was a 2-year term, and a little bit of research, I think it's meant to have high turnover rate, every 2 years. And I started checking and thought I'd give it a try.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we have a state representative in there right now who was your budget committee chairman.
He was.
For several years
Yes.
while you're still county mayor.
Yes.
Do you think that we need a new person in office right now?
Well, I'd like to have that job. I mean, it's just a deal that I think that I could go to Nashville, represent people in Hawkins and Hancock County, and I'll be full-time. I don't have any other job, and it's a part-time job. The state representative job is a part-time job. My understanding is it's basically from January through maybe April or May. So there will be several months in there that I will actually be back in Hawkins County and be able to get out and visit constituents, and also get to spend time with my grandkids.
Now, do you have any platforms or things that you
Well,
like to
there's some things that I've identified over the years. I'm not going to go into them right now, as I guess after the qualifying deadline, I'll get down to more details, some things that I would like to see happen. Now, whether they can or not, I'm on the outside looking in, and things may be completely different if I do get inside. They may be completely different, but I think it's something that needs effort. And
is there something that the current state representative is doing that you'd like to do differently, or is there a reason why you feel like he needs to be replaced?
Well, not necessarily. There was an issue sometime back, that was voted on in Nashville. It was a good bill, but there was an attachment to that bill that I really disagreed with. And when it was all said and done, I'm not going to go into detail exactly what it is right now, but it potentially cost the county taxpayers some money that could be available to Hawkins County if County Commission decided to go that route. Now, the bill overall was a good bill.
Which bill was it?
But the attachment, it was the Improve Act. Okay, but there was an attachment to it or whatever that I disagreed with from the get-go, but it still went by. The paying for the roads as you go is a great idea.
The only criticism that I've heard about our current state representative is that he was the budget chairman when the county's budget crisis was revealed, the deficit. Of course, you were the county mayor at that same time.
Yes.
So how do you balance responsibility for what happened and the ensuing tax rate, which has been so unpopular?
Okay. All right. The money that was spent, if you go back and look, we had an unassigned fund balance of about $5.1 million. I think that was in 13-14. Might have been 12-13. You can go back and check that. But if we had increased taxes then, property tax, wheel tax, or whatever, we could have averted, the $40 wheel tax. Because see, what we did, we actually put off a tax increase. If we'd have passed the $40 wheel tax in 2010, the wheel tax today, technically, if we could have kept up with it, would be $5 instead of $40. Because if you go back to 10 to 18, that's 8 years. 8 times 5 is $40. So County Commission's reluctance, and I say reluctance, I think the money was well spent. I've looked at it. I've looked at the sheriff's budget. I've looked at all the county officials' budgets. I like police protection. I like everything that's happened in Hawkins County. And it's just, we delayed increasing taxes, and the longer you delay them, the more you had to have at one time. If it had been a gradual process of increasing taxes, say the $5, or if you'd have went to maybe like say a 3-cent property tax increase, that's about $300,000 a year. So over an 8-year period, we could have used some of this fund balance, but we would have still had some fund balance left.
When you look at the $2 million deficit, you can when you look at the amount of money that the county commission spent that it had control over.
Yes.
Where does that $2 million fall in? Is it mostly the sheriff's office?
Probably so. You know, there was if you go back and look, you know, I think sheriff may have had a CTAS, County Technical Assistant Study, done of the size of the county, the crime rate, the number of jailers you need, and so I think from that, you know, it was recommended that we increase that. We also bought police cruisers. You know, some of those were outdated. We have updated police cruisers now. The jail is up and running, seems to be doing very well. And, you know, we're putting people, or sheriff's putting bad people in jail, and it costs money to put them there. There was no misspent money. We are audited every year. Now, there may have been a bad judgment as far as the, you know, increasing the revenue to keep up with the expenditures. If we'd have done that gradually instead of all at one time, you know, there would have been a whole different perception out there. But I think if the taxpayers will actually go back and look at their property taxes that they were paying in 10 compared to right now, you know, we had reassessment back there, and we lost a little bit of ground in the reassessment in 14, but we adjusted the tax rate accordingly. When I came on board, the tax rate was 2.75. That's $2.70.5 per hundred. Right now, it's 2.5323. And if you go back and check the 10 budget to now, you'll find out there's considerable amount. You know, we've got some growth. We've had some growth within the county. Well, I feel like that I've really worked hard at this job. It's been rewarding, but it's also been stressful. There's challenges. We're still facing challenges. Not only Hawkins County, but counties across the state of Tennessee are all the opioid epidemic. You know, it's being attacked from, you know, from, they're looking at federal, they're looking at state, we're looking at local level, even the school system. So that's going to be a continuing problem. We also have a lot of capital projects out there that are pushed out there that we've pushed back. And somewhere down the line, those are going to have to be addressed, because the longer you put them off, the more expensive they become. So what I'm hoping is that the voters will look and they'll pick out the best candidate in this next mayoral's race. But the critical races are going to be the county commission races. Now, a lot of people say, well, I want to know who increased my taxes. I want to know who voted for the $40 wheel tax. We had a directive from the comptroller to balance that budget. County commission's job, number one job, according to Jason Mumpower, was to balance that budget. Hawkins County has two sources of revenue to balance the budget: property tax and what we call the wheel tax, or the privilege tax. So $1 on the wheel tax generates about $53,000, so you're talking a little bit over $2 million. A 22-cent property tax increase, which county commission actually voted for. They actually passed it.
Passed it and repealed it.
Right, and then one of the commissioners who voted against the wheel tax voted to bring it back up. When it was brought back up, I believe he voted against it again, and it passed, and then I think he voted against it again, and then he voted against the total budget. So anyway, don't hold the $40 wheel tax over these commissioners that's voted to pass a budget, because that was their choice. That was a choice that had to be made. It was either $40 wheel tax, 22-cent property tax increase. And I'm really excited about Hawkins County. We just got to realize that things cost more, and I realize there's a lot of people out there that are struggling. They have been when I was a kid. Out in Sulphur Spring Valley. We struggled then, people struggled then, and they're still struggling. And we'll work with them any way we can.
Right, but you got to have money to build roads and police officers and buy police cars.
Yeah, I told somebody, I said, a lot of people have talked to me, and of course as county mayor, really I don't have a vote unless it's tied, and again, I commend the commissioners that voted to pass the budget. You know, you and I could vote no. Well, what's your alternative when you vote no? I mean,
were you recommending to them years ago to do a little bit at a time?
Well, we had talked about that from time to time. Different people had brought it up time to time. And even at one time, I think one of the commissioners brought it up about maybe putting like 2 cents away a year, which would have been $200,000, and apply that directly to the debt, to not use it, because we do have debt in Hawkins County. But it never formally ever took place. You know, no one ever came out. And of course, these are elected officials. A lot of pressure on them. There's a lot of pressure out there in the political world. And a lot of times you run across people and they think they have a better answer. But when you get out and start talking to these people, if they say they're going to cut taxes, ask them how they plan on doing it.
Yeah, you hear that from people who have never been in county government before.
Yes. And you know, they may have some ideas, you know, and I invite people. You know, people come down and say, well, you need to cut the school system out. And I said, you know, I mean, that's a separate, not really cut it out, but, you know, cut things.
And cut wages, things that can't be cut.
Right.
There are things that can be cut.
Right, yeah, we have the fee offices over here. We have maintenance of effort in different ones, like with the sheriff's department. Their salaries. And I think even down to the number of employees is a maintenance of effort.
Yeah.
And I think the highway department has that. Now the highway department gets a bashed every now and then because of this extra $40 wheel tax, but all of that $40 is going directly into the general fund with a stipulation that $10 of that might be designated for emergency services. So Miss Nancy Klepper Davis, she's monitoring that. We're a little bit behind. You know, some people maybe have not tagged as many vehicles as they normally tag. Some of them registered them early, you know. So, all right, District 9 voters. Okay, I'll be out there. You got to realize I've still got a full-time job, and I'm here 99.9% of the time. And I try to do my very best. But I will be out there. I'll be out after work. I'll be out on Saturdays. Sundays, you probably won't see me unless you see me at church, and we try to not talk business at church. If you have concerns, you know, call me. Don't flood me out because, again, we're going to be putting this budget together, so it's going to be a busy time between now and I guess it's August 2nd or something like that where the state primary is. And I just ask that you keep an open mind as far as I'm concerned. And we'll talk about some issues that I think are important up the line and try to bring those to light. And again, maybe they can be dealt with, maybe they can't. But you know, I'm willing and ready. It's a part-time position. It's a 2-year position, and I'm going to have time. I'm going to be retired. I'm retiring August 31st is my last day as county mayor. And of course, the election will be the 2nd, so you might not see me. So I'm here. And I'll be out in the grocery stores and different places, you know, doing normal citizen stuff. And
now, are you going to take the blame for this stock market crash that just happened?
Well, you know, I'm figuring, you know, if Brady will take the blame for crashing the Super Bowl, you know, but you notice it was a Tennessee guy that recovered that fumble, Barnett. You know, now he didn't cause it, but they talked a lot about him getting the fumble, and I think that's the way it is in the political world. Sometimes, you know, the person that shows up sometimes gets credit, and there's been a lot of hard work. And this county commission, you know, I don't agree with some of them, but there's some good people on there, and I'm asking the voters to be careful. Not saying there's not good candidates that are on county commission right now. But that's the critical cog to county government, because bottom line, when it's all said and done, they decide where the dollars are spent and how you get the dollars. I mean, it's just the way it is, nature of the beast.